Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so you can catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright now, so we're coming down to the last stretch of Dark Knight's Metal, man, and it is getting bananas. Because at this point where Metal issue number 5 is out now, there are a lot of things that are set in motion. Not just what shows up in the issue, which I'll talk about some in this video, but there are a lot of things happening in the background too. And so just as a refresher, because I know we've been going non-stop talking about Metal for the past few months and the tie-ins, and even trying on our own in the comment section and on Twitter to figure out what's happening and what's around the corner. And so I want to say the last place we left off was when Cyborg was being extracted for Element X, and he was able to ping his mother box, setting himself free instead of fully giving in and losing his humanity, and that allowed him to free the Justice League except for Batman and Superman, who are in the Dark Multiverse. But this freed up Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Flash, really just giving them enough time to escape so they can get back to their search for more Nth Metal and free everyone else who is still held captive by the Batman Who Laughs. And that's really where we're at by the time that Metal issue 5 drops. Because when the heroes leave Barbatos and the Batman Who Laughs, they head back to the different locations that they were going in the Bats Out of Hell series. And they made their escape by Cyborg initially boom-tombing them out of there and taking them into the hyper time. And Cyborg finding this power was a huge curveball for them. Like, this was the first time that we saw Barbatos get a little bit nervous, because he gave the Batman Who Laughs the responsibility and the tools to make sure that something like this never happened. But it still did, and it makes Barbatos nervous. But it's from here that the Batman Who Laughs, his Batman, kicks in. And he knows that first, the Justice League will definitely come back because the Teen Titans and Task Force X are still held captive, which will in turn lead them back to Barbatos. And even from here, there are other things that he set in motion to make sure that all roads do lead back to Barbatos. And you'll see what I mean by his Batman kicking in, because the main thing that Batman's able to do in situations like these is adapt. But with everybody going to their separate locations, Aquaman and Deathstroke once again go to the center of the earth by way of Atlantis, and when they get there, Deathstroke leads them to this orb because his suit senses the Nth Metal. But from there, it's really up to Aquaman to figure out how to work the machinery in order to extract it. And because it's part Atlantean, he does know to an extent, and because of that, they're able to start the process. And then you got Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific, who went to Thanagar Prime with the Plastic Man egg, with the only intention really of finding whoever's in charge and making some sort of bargain with them so they can get as much Nth Metal as possible. And really they want it for free, but I say bargain because that's just the way that Thanagar Prime works. And when they make their way here to the throne, they're greeted by Anamar Sint, and he pretty much tells them that they're the only ones here with a problem, because his people have known about the Dark Multiverse for eons, and they made preparation for this event. And the preparation they made, like we talked about before, was the Phoenix Cannon. And this device is designed to keep the Earth from sinking into the Dark Multiverse. And the way it would do this is it would send a signal directly to the Earth's core, which would pull it away from the darkness if this event were to take place. And I really believe that in Metal issue number 5, where Aquaman and Deathstroke went to the center of the Earth and they noticed the devices around its core had some technology that was Atlantean and some technology that wasn't, I believe that the part that wasn't originated from Thanagar Prime. And because of that, the Phoenix Cannon works as a device that has a transmitter and receiver, with the receiver technology being built around the Earth's core and also powered by the Earth's core, but the transmitter being located on Thanagar Prime and designed to be powered by the Plastic Man egg. And because it's powered by the Plastic Man egg, they just take it and throw Mr. Terrific and Green Lantern in jail. And they pull this off by using Star Wars telepathy to keep Hal Jordan from being able to concentrate and make any constructs. But with the egg now in Sin's possession, he finally has the power he needs in order to make the cannon work. But jumping over to Cyborg, who also has Flash and Raven with him, in Metal number 5, we don't really get an update of where they're at, but we know exactly what they're up to back when Cyborg freed the Justice League. Because when Cyborg broke free from the Batman Who Laughs, he connected with the multiverse. And from then, he told him that he was more valuable to the team playing the role of a coach. And so when everybody splits back up, he takes Raven and Flash with him because his play is to hack the multiverse and pretty much throw an Nth Metal and Batman Hail Mary. But in order to do this, he says that he needs Flash and he definitely needs Raven. And because of this, I feel like these three are going to play the biggest part when it really goes down. And although that issue didn't specifically say where they're heading, I'm pretty sure that they're making their way to the Forge. Because if that's indeed where they're going to, these three can do the most help, not only as far as bringing Batman and Superman back, but also restoring Hawkman while they're there. And in their group, you of course have Cyborg, who has access to Hyper Time, you have the Flash, who has access to the Speed Force, and he also can move quick enough to buy them more time. But Raven, Raven really has what it takes to really make all this turn around. And I say that mainly because she has telekinesis, telepathy, like she could literally lift Hawkman up and just go into his mind. She can absorb pain from others or even shut down feelings or emotions. So I would say really to look out for her and what she's gonna do coming to the closing of this series. But from here, heading over to Wonder Woman, she's pretty much on her own at this point. And initially she had traveled with Kendra and Dr. Fate over to the Rock of Eternity, and Kendra, who had brought along the brain of the Anti-Monitor, she was transformed into Lady Blackhawk at the time that the Forge had went dark. But also here at the Rock of Eternity, we start to notice a number of things start to shift, because that's where we see Black Adam, who has made a deal with Barbatos in order to preserve himself and save his people. And that's really the last we see of Dr. Fate when he's struck by lightning. And because of that, Wonder Woman, who rolled in here 3 deep, she's now solo because Black Adam took out Dr. Fate and there's no telling where he went. And Kendra just flip-flop on the spot. Like, that jump was unexpected. Like, nobody probably believed Wonder Woman if we ain't see it for ourselves. But from the moment that Black Adam appeared, we realized something that we didn't know before. And that was him mentioning he made a deal with Barbatos back in Metal issue number 4. And in Metal 5, we come to find out that Black Adam is not the only person willing and dealing with Barbatos. Both him and Vandal Savage have made deals with Barbatos at this point, but we're soon to find out that there are others who have done the same. And while Wonder Woman's here at the Rock of Eternity, Aquaman and Deathstroke end up getting crept up on by Black Manta. And really what this is the manifestation of that adaptation that the Batman Who Laughs took after Cyborg set everyone free. Because we have to keep in mind that at the end of the day, even with everything going on, that Batman essentially is the villain of this story, with the exception of Barbatos, but mainly Batman, because it's the Batman Who Laughs who's orchestrating a lot of these plans that are happening or being carried out by the will of Barbatos. But while Wonder Woman is there at the Rock of Eternity, she's fighting Black Adam, she's getting knocked through walls, but through this fight and nearly turning this place apart, she finds Hawkman's mace, which is a genius weapon to go against Black Adam because the nth metal is a hyperconductor. So not only does it strike him crazy hard, but it also conducts the energy that he's generating. And this puts him on the floor ice cold. And he may have lost an eye in the process. I don't know, somebody need to go down there and check on him. He looked bad. But immediately after this happens, the Batman Who Laughs shoots Wonder Woman with a bullet made of 8th metal, taking her down but not killing her. But he lets her live because he believes regardless of how this goes down, she's gonna die anyway. But going back to Mr. Terrific and Green Lantern, who've been locked up for like the past 3 or 4 videos, as it turns out, the guard in front of their cell was actually Martian Manhunter. And I don't know about you all, but I've really missed this guy. And I'm so mad that he's nowhere in the DCEU right now, but that's a whole nother subject. Because Martian Manhunter is badass, I'm just glad he's back. But he breaks them out of their holding cell, and he's the perfect person for this job, because he can use his telepathy and block Starro, allowing Green Lantern to make his constructs once again. And that's exactly what he does, allowing them to fight their way back to the throne where they can confront Omnimar and get the Plastic Man egg back. And he really doesn't put up any fight, he just lets them have it. But real quick, I want to talk a bit about what we learned about Plastic Man here on Thanagar Prime. Because when Mr. Terrific and Green Lantern were in their cell together, they had a lot of time and they did a lot of talking. And it was here that we found out that Plastic Man was working with Mr. Terrific early on, but Plastic Man started facing the nightmares of every living thing. And this began to happen when the dark energy started rising. And this is the reason why Plastic Man reverted into an egg, because he was actually trying to help Mr. Terrific for as long as he could. And he attempted to do this for some time while fighting off the dark impulses until it came to the point where he couldn't take it anymore. So this whole entire time, through the whole series, Dark Days and Dark Nights, we find out that Plastic Man has been fighting off these dark impulses the whole time he's been in the egg form. And I don't know about you guys, but I would love to have a Plastic Man series that covers all of this. Much like the Hawkman issue 1 Hawkman Found. Because in there we saw all the issues that the conscious Carter Hall was going through, and now we know that Plastic Man is pretty much going through the same thing. But for the sake of the heroes, he was able to catch it early before he was taken into the darkness, because if Plastic Man transformed like Hawkman did, Metal will be over, man. It'd be a wrap. And so from here, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, and Martian Manhunter, they take Plastic Man Egg over to the Phoenix Cannon. But when they get there, they realize the purpose and functionality of this device has been reversed. And I love that when this happens that the Devastator is here, because he's the person who altered the functionality on the Cosmic Tuning Fork. And doing this just executes everything perfectly, because it ties things together and it really grounds the whole story. Just making the overall story arc be more fluid by keeping the characters consistent. And speaking of consistent, that bullet didn't stop Wonder Woman, because when the Batman Who Laughs is talking to her and telling her that this is how it ends, she gets gets up and keeps fighting. Like, this is the perfect time to cue that Wonder Woman music. Like, do 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 do. You know what I'm saying? But when she gets up and attacks Kendra, she brilliantly hits her with the lasso of truth, which brings Kendra back to her consciousness, but she stays in the physical Lady Blackhawk form. And after this, Wonder Woman is not alone anymore. And so currently, all the way back at Gotham City, at the top of the cosmic tuning fork, you have Barbatos, who's up there giving out his war cry. And this is crazy because where he's at, everybody can hear him. Whether you're at the World Forge, whether you're at the Rock of Eternity, it doesn't matter. He wails out and it reaches everywhere. And when he opened his mouth, it reminded me of that movie It. Straight up Stephen King stuff right here. And I mean, he got the deadlights and everything. And this is crazy because I just seen the movie It not too long ago for the first time. It's like the 2017 version. And after I seen it, I was talking to some of you guys on Twitter about it and just saying how glad I am that that movie is just chapter 1. And I couldn't help but thinking, like, what if they took that story and just dug deeper into what it exactly was? Much like with Dark Knight's Metal, going back to the origination of, or the beginning of creation for DC Comics and the worlds and the characters. And I don't know if It, the film, is gonna do all that, but just seeing how that character made me think back to Barbatos, and then reading Dark Knight's Metal issue number 5, it just gave me a little bit of hope. But I am excited about those movies, and we'll have to wait and see where that goes. And so now this war cry, this battle cry from Barbatos, it means a number of things. One, it's like a signal to everybody who's in his alliance at their different locations, whether they're at Thanagar Prime, the Rock of Eternity, and Batman, Superman, and Hawkman can all hear it at the Forge of Worlds. But this is a call for everyone in his alliance to run into battle. But secondly, a battle cry is also a form of intimidation, because Barbatos at this point more than ever, he feels like he needs to crush every hope that the heroes have because they are close to figuring this out. But on the flip side, you have Wonder Woman who takes Kendra, who's now Hawk Girl, even though she still looks like Lady Blackhawk, but she takes her through the Rock of Eternity, back to Gotham and back to Barbatos, because she's ready to take this fight head on. And when they get there, it is ridiculous. And it looks like the different nightmare villains we saw back in the Batman Who Laughs origin. And from the way that they're outnumbered, it pretty much looks like they're in the kill box. Like, this is where you go to die. But at this point, Wonder Woman still has Hawkman's mace, so at least she has a weapon of nth metal. And while Kendra is looking at this for what it seems to be, which is a fight where they won't come out alive, Wonder Woman tells Kendra to let out her battle cry. And that takes me over to the two things that this battle cry means from Wonder Woman's position. And first, a part of it still is a form of intimidation, because she wants Barbatos and the Batman Who Laughs to know that at least two of them are still in the fight. And even though she's not sure at this point that anyone else can hear her, she still wants to put a signal out so the other heroes know that she's still fighting too. And in that sense, it works as a tool of motivation and empowerment for any of the other heroes who feel like they can't go on. This may give them that last bit of encouragement to take that one last swing and ensure that they'll keep fighting until there's no breath left in their body. And so meanwhile at the Forge, Superman is like, man, I had enough of this. He has had enough. I don't think he's heard her battle cry yet, but he definitely heard Barbatos, who made his cry out first before Wonder Woman and Hawk Girl made their way back to Gotham. But with Batman and Superman, who are at the Forge of Worlds, who are trying to still evade Hawkman and also talk sense into him at the same time. But even while all this is happening, Batman tells Superman that they must find a part of the Forge that is still bright, because Daniel told them before he opened the door for them to get there that that bright metal could kill Barbatos. And eventually, after a lot of tiring, running, evading Hawkman, Superman finds a spot that is still bright. And they don't waste much time before they go for it. But what's crazy here, because of the situation they're in, they don't have much time to think about, well, what happens if we jump into it? Will we live? Will we die? Will we be the same? There's no time to think about any of that. They just have to jump. And when they dive in, I immediately think about two people we haven't seen for a while in this series. And that's Nightwing and Damian. And if you guys remember, we talked about a while back one of the tie-ins where Nightwing saw Batman die, or at least that's what he believed that he saw. And this scene right here looks much like that vision that Nightwing had. And it's crazy because we've come to that point where that vision has actually come to fruition. And as Batman and Superman submerge in this metal, we really don't know how they're going to come out, and we don't know if Nightwing, being the weapon now, and he's being called to Barbatos, if he's going to try and fight Batman when he comes out of the metal or what. And from the events that had taken place prior, for all we know, they may be at the Forge watching this happen. Because if you guys remember, Nightwing and Damian made it through Challenger's Mountain, and Green Arrow I believe as well too. And because they didn't appear in Metal issue number 5, we still don't know where they are. And I didn't see them on the tuning fork or attached to any of the other torture devices that are placed around the base of the tuning fork, so my guess is they're either at the World Forge or somewhere near Wonder Woman and Hawk Girl. But what we do know is that this time the Phoenix Cannon is activated and it's set to darken the metal that's at the Earth's core. And then when that's done, Hawkman's mace is the next thing that's supposed to be used to guide the Earth's core into the dark multiverse. And if that happens, it's a wrap. Like, you might as well just cue Dave Chappelle.
Darkness, everybody, darkness! Darkness is spreading!
But that'll do it for this one, guys. I'm just gonna leave that right there. But hit me up down in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think. I know it's a lot, and I can't wait to hear you guys' feedback. And as far as my Patreon shout out for all the new patrons, I'll be doing that next week. So keep a lookout for that, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Alright, later.